Hey guys, welcome to the Go to Game show. First show of 2021. It's all over. 2020 is over. COVID is gone. We're going to events again. It's amazing, isn't it? No, sadly not the
Fingers
truth, but
crossed.
If
uh,
only.
yeah, this is episode 25 of the Go to Game show. This is where, if this is the first time you've come across us, Jack and I catch up every week on a Zoom call. We have a chat about what we've been up to in the last week, and we're usually joined every week by a friend or a guest. And this week we've got James Parkinson with us. How are you going?
Good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always awesome having new people on the show. Sometimes it's a friend, and sometimes we get to meet a new friend and get to know them. So it's always awesome. As I said at the top of the show, this is normally where we catch up on the last week, but we haven't done a show since mid-December due to Christmas and stuff. Our first show back. So what have you been up to in the last month or so, Jack?
Oh, I forget.
How'd you enjoy your holiday?
I don't even know what I did yesterday. Holiday was good though. Holiday was really good. I got to go see family, which is good because a lot of people haven't really been able to do that. So it was a good end of the year for most people, I guess. Some people still couldn't, but I was.
Did you
lucky
feel like
enough.
Christmas hit a bit different this year?
Very, very. Yeah. And this was like the first Christmas in a couple that I've had like a lot of my family at the one place. Because my sister's like going through renovations at her place, but they've got a massive shed at the back now that was like they've built. So we just set up like three big long tables, and we had like everybody there, which we haven't been able to do in like a long 5 years. Yeah, because we never really had a place to be able to do it at. And then obviously me living so far away, and cousins sort of all over the place as well. So yeah, it was like finally after such a long year and not really being able to see family when we normally see them quite regularly. Being able to finally have like everybody together it was really cool.
Thank Christ, sort of the COVID sort of held back for most places in Australia as well. So we were able to have people together, unless you're in the northern beaches, of course.
Yeah, that was crazy. That sucked. Yeah, that just sucked to see, Just like obviously a lot of people that live there as well, so they weren't able to see family, just had to stay at home. People Zoom calling their family for Christmas, so yeah, that sucks. But
I tell you what, I was really thankful that the previous Christmas we went to the effort of we went back to New Zealand and had Christmas at our place in New Zealand, but we actually went to the effort of driving to other parts of the country to visit family and things like that. So we got to see everybody before 2020, But yeah, so this Christmas we were stuck here in Australia, didn't get to see any family, but my eldest son managed to make it into the country. He was here for Christmas, which was awesome, and New Year's. He was supposed to fly out 2 weeks ago, but Qantas actually cancelled the flight, and he's now stuck here until May.
Holy shit.
Because New Zealand still got managed isolation over there, and their managed isolation is booked up until May at the moment. So he can't go back until there's room in the managed isolation facilities.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
Mum and Dad are stoked. We get to hang out with our son for a bit more, but he's shitty.
Oh, I can imagine.
He had plans of he had plans of going back to New Zealand and hanging out with his boys and going back to work and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, he's stuck here till May, so we're trying to find him some stuff to do while he's here.
That is crazy.
Apart from that, crazy. Yeah, apart from that, I spent most of the holidays, as you can see, building an arcade.
Yeah. God, it's so full now, bro. Holy shit.
Oh, bro. I think I've literally run out of room. I've got a second arcade machine in there now. Got the air hockey table, which I've actually got to fix that up. I'm actually going to work on that tonight, actually. So there's not a lot of room in here. I've got underneath if you're watching this on video, underneath the basketball arcade game behind me. I don't know if you can see it from here. I've actually got sim racing set up under there as well now.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, so we just fold up the basketball thing and then flip up the seat and do some sim racing there.
Very cool. I'm feeling pretty inadequate. I don't have an elaborate kind of gaming background behind me, unlike you two. But
oh, dude!
yeah.
But in saying that, this time last year, like I did have like consoles and stuff set up in here, but that was it. You know, during COVID, I've had a lot of time to put lights up and buy shit I didn't really need. But
yeah.
Apart from that, just exactly the same as you, Jack. Spending time with family. Not enjoying the sunshine as much as previous Australian summers up until this week, though. Like, it has been the wettest, coldest summer I can remember being since I've been here.
Oh, yeah. It's been crazy, right?
It's been weird.
Yeah,
I'm
right
in
up
Melbourne
until
and
this
it's been
week.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but right up until this week, where it went from cold all summer or raining all summer to shit, what was it the other day? 40 odd degrees?
Yeah. In our car the other day, our car thermometer said 46.
Jesus.
That was pretty insane.
What was the heat like earlier this week in Melbourne?
We had a couple of kind of 35, 40-degree days. So yeah, we did get there eventually. It feels like summer's kind of arrived. Yesterday was like beautiful and 25. So it's definitely starting to warm up, but it feels like summer gets later every year.
Right.
I don't know if that's climate change, related. It feels like it is. It seems like a kind of long,
I have no doubt it is.
Long-tailed progressive thing. But it's bizarre. Like I think in the last couple of years, I can definitely remember some like 35-degree days in March and April, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm expecting it to get hotter and to come back. It's been quite slow. I'm a winter person, so I don't mind the cooler weather. There's always a point where I get past all of that and I'm just like, oh, it's too cold. I just want a bit of warmth. So yeah.
I grew up in New Zealand, so I'm fucking over the cold, right? But in saying that, I'm also used to the cold. And what I love about winter here is you guys are like, holy fuck, it's 5 degrees. Fuck, it's cold. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Whereas in New Zealand, you'd wake up to -3-degree mornings and just be like, and it'd be like that for weeks.
Yeah. It's all what you're used to, I guess.
Yeah, but the heat is what kills me.
Can imagine.
Yeah, I can't stand 40 degrees. Even 35, it's too much for me.
Yeah.
25 to 30, okay, that's nice. As long as it's not when you get a heat wave and it's like 35 every day and your house doesn't get a chance to cool down, that's when it's tough, and I don't deal well with that. That's when I trap myself inside and just play games in air conditioning.
If there's anything to be thankful with it not being as hot this year, is we're not literally on fire this year.
Thankfully,
True.
yeah, it's been
Very true.
A good thing to not have to worry about it.
I can remember this time last year, Jack, you literally being on fire watch, being able to see the fire from your house.
Yeah. Yep. I remember.
That was this time last year.
I can remember, I know. Getting off the train every afternoon and like walking, and it would just be like, you could see like 10 meters in front of you because like the smoke was just that thick out this way.
Yeah.
That was crazy. It's
really,
weird
really because
insane.
the fire season's like generally been starting earlier and like going longer.
Yeah.
It feels like we've kind of skipped the start this year. But is it going to come back and kind of hit us on the tail end? I don't know. I hope not.
Who knows?
Adelaide had that massive fire just over the weekend. So
I was about to mention that.
Scary.
It's like the only one I've heard about.
Yeah.
That was a monster though. But still,
it was a monster.
It's the only one I've heard about.
Yeah, we this week, actually earlier this week, I think it might have been on the 40-degree day we had. My wife and I were actually, I'm going to sound really bougie, we were out in the pool. And but we started smelling smoke and we were like, fuck, because it didn't smell like barbecue smoke, which is sort of what you expect on Australia Day. But no, it ended up was literally just somebody had fired up the barbie down the road. But it's funny that's the go-to when you still sort of smell smoke on a hot day. It's like, oh shit, is it?
Yeah. Where's that coming from? What is it? Very true.
So what about you, James? How's your last couple of weeks been?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty kind of chill start to the year, but that's okay. Coming off the back of lockdown in Melbourne, Christmas was pretty quiet, so it's been nice just to relax a bit and kind of ease into things. I think we needed that after, you know, nearly kind of 6 months of lockdown and in and out of lockdown and all that kind of stuff. So it's been pretty tough. Last year was a lot to get through, but we got through it, and you know, we've come through the other side. And
look,
I think
Melbourne's
now,
reaping the rewards now.
yeah, for sure. You know, things are opening up. We've, you know, got no cases, and it's great. So we've got the Australian Open next month if you're a tennis fan. So that's going to be good, I think. And apart from a few players complaining, that's something for the city to look forward to, I think. So yeah, it feels like summer's now just kind of starting, which is weird. But yeah, look, it's
funny that I was literally watching an interview with Serena Williams the other day, and she was going on about how much she loves the way that she's been looked after since she's been here.
Yeah, she was on Colbert, I think.
Yeah, it was on Colbert, yeah.
Yeah, so there was an article in, I think, Fox Sports, and the headline was like really negative, you know, classic clickbait. And then the article, you know, was actually more honest about what she thought. But yeah, she was very upbeat about everything. Like, she's like, yeah, it's pretty strict, but it kind of needs to be, and like we're getting by. So you know, it's tough, but it's 2 weeks and you get through it. And look, she's in a, you know, 5-star hotel, so whatever.
Exactly right.
You know, she's not in a 1-bedroom hotel. I'm sure it's a, you know, a top floor kind of, you know, open plan kind of thing. So
something pretty insane.
In saying that, like in the gaming calendar, the Australian Open over the last couple of years has actually been something that the gaming community has looked forward to as well, because of course they've had the Fortnite Invitational as a part of AO, but this year no Fortnite event at all.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a different tournament, I think. You know, just the nature of things, it's going to be smaller. I'm not sure about what's happening with ticketing and how many people are allowed into the arenas and things. But yeah, the two worlds have kind of merged, I guess, the last few years, which has been cool. So yeah.
It was always interesting because previously I wouldn't have given a shit about tennis, right? If you'd said the Australian Open's this weekend, and I don't care. But yeah, like you said, the last couple of years, I actually had press tickets to go to the Australian Open. It was weird talking to somebody from a PR company about tennis and me being, I'm 100% want to go down to Melbourne, and saying that I never made it to either of them.
God damn it.
Yeah. So James, you're our guest for this week. Tell us about yourself, bro.
Yeah. So I host and produce a podcast called Gameplay. It's a new storytelling show that we make at the company I work at, Lawson Media. So it's a documentary style show telling all kinds of stories about video games. And so we launched that on October 1st. And, you know, I've been a gamer my whole life. I grew up on the Super Nintendo and the Atari and all that kind of stuff. So growing up in the 90s, that was my jam. And yeah, kind of gone through and had so many different kind of consoles, and it's always just been a big part of my life. And we launched the show last year, and it was kind of during the first lockdown in April over Easter. We took like an extended break, and I was playing a lot of games, and then, you know, kind of came up with this idea to make a gaming show. So we kind of, you know, thought about it and planned it out, and had a full kind of 5 months of developing the show, what it would be, what it would sound like, what it would look like, and then, you know, started to look for stories. And so yeah, we're about eight episodes in now, which is good.
It's funny you say it, because this show here is a product of COVID as well. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, 2020 was big, right, for gaming. Everyone was locked in their homes, and just using that as a way to get through it. So when you retreat to those kind of gaming worlds, it's it really kind of hits home that you're fortunate to have these kind of communities online and things to retreat to, which is cool. So yeah, it was definitely a product of that, which was nice. But the response has been really great. So yeah, that's what I do. I make audio documentaries, and doing something in video games is really cool to combine, you know, two of my passions.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about the podcast. Like, what's the crux of, like, what sort of stories do you tell?
Yeah, so all kinds of stories, from kind of personal narratives to stories in video game history, all kind of a wide range of stories. So we're open to kind of anything as long as there's a really good kind of narrative hook there. So, for example, the first story we did was about the D-pad and the design of the D-pad and how Nintendo kind of pioneered this real crucial part of what we know as video game controllers these days. So, it started with the Game & Watch, the Donkey Kong Game & Watch, the Gunpei Yokoi engineered, and kind of followed that story right through. So a really kind of fascinating one. We've kind of pitched the show as the 99% Invisible of video game podcasts. So if anyone's familiar with 99PI, it's an amazing design show out of the US that's been going for years. And they look at kind of, the human built worlds and how, the kind of unseen design elements and things that come into architecture in the built world that we kind of just don't think about, when we kind of go through our world. So that was kind of the pitch that we started with. So we started with a design story in the gaming sphere, which was really cool. We've done a great episode about Hades. So I spoke to Darren Korb, the audio director at Supergiant Games. We did a full kind of deep dive on the music and sound design of Hades, which was really fun to do. We've kind of done a whole range of stories so far, and looking to do a whole lot more. So we publish every 2 weeks, and it's been really fun to put out some amazing documentaries so far.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
So
audio design is always so cool to talk to people about.
Oh, audio design is amazing, right? Yeah. I have literally had games where I always use what's the game called? Journey.
Yeah.
As an example of amazing audio design. Like the entire game is pretty much driven just by the audio and the visual. There's no other elements of storytelling in there.
Yeah, that was actually a story I wanted to do initially, and his name's escaping me at the moment, but I reached out to the composer, and it didn't kind of work out. He's done a lot of press about it, since, but yeah, Darren was great to speak to. He's just so knowledgeable and so passionate and so talented. And the Hades soundtrack is just amazing, and he's obviously done a lot of work on all the Supergiant games over the years. And so getting into the details about how they even kind of start out trying to add music to a game and trying to have it match the world of the game, using the kind of different instrumentation and then actually implementing it on the back end as well, and having all those kind of elements like trigger at certain times and having kind of different stems play at different times and all that. It's really cool. So if anyone loves Hades, definitely go and check out that episode. It's called The Sound of Hades. And it's probably I think our best episode so far, and one that I'm pretty proud of. Some of my listeners have kind of said it reminds them of Song Exploder, which is another kind of music based podcast that kind of dives deep onto music and how artists kind of breaking down their songs and kind of them putting them back together.
It totally sounds like something that's right down my alley. Is not so much. I'm not a design person, but I'm very much a retro gamer and love the history of gaming and stuff like that. So
cool. We've got stories for everyone. Like some things might not kind of suit some people, but there's going to be a variety there. We've had some people write in, or at least one person write in to the show and say that, the premise of the show doesn't kind of deliver on what the episodes are. But I disagree with that, because if you understand, the way we set up the show, it's there's a kind of specific tagline, but also within that tagline, there's also, room to move. So we're going to have...
I'm saying that anything in media, I think, especially nowadays with the way it's sort of consumed, has to be fluid. Like it's going to be ever evolving. Like no product starts one way and ends exactly the same way anymore.
Exactly.
When we started our podcast that we used to run almost 10 years ago now, it started off as a purely a social media podcast. It was about talking about what's happening on social media and blah, 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 all that sort of thing. And it evolved it. By the end, it was social media, web tech, and gaming.
Yeah.
Because that's what our listeners wanted.
That's it. Yeah. And I think if you you start something with a very specific kind of, focus in mind, but also like with podcasts and, audio documentaries and stuff, like we want to have that kind of scope in that we can cover anything. It doesn't have to fit within this, narrative, within this narrow parameter. So the tagline for the show is stories about video games and the virtual worlds that power culture and community. And the person that wrote in was like, the show is called Gameplay. You're not talking about video games, because we were talking about, particular personal stories. Like we did a story about a transgender woman and how video games have helped her discover her identity. And, they made a point about, I'm not, being transphobic or anything, but I didn't, this podcast isn't about gaming. It's like, well, yes, it is. We're looking at cultural stories. We're looking at personal stories from, all different angles. So we're going to have some stories that are very focused on one particular game or, something like that. And we're going to have other stories that are just someone's personal experience and how gaming has impacted their lives, because that's valuable and that's important. And there's stories that are worth being told.
100%.
We did a story about the Red Ring of Death on the Xbox 360, and they said that was a business story. Well, yes, there's a business element to it, but it is a gaming story as well. So there's going to be variety there, and we're just really excited about the kind of future and the potential of the show, and looking at all kinds of stories.
100%.
It's actually funny.
It sounds like that person just needs to find something to whinge about all the time.
Basically,
and those people are all over the internet, right?
Absolutely. Like any show, any creative medium is going to get people that just don't get it, and that's fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, move on. So
totally fine.
So you were saying that this is sort of the merging of your two worlds. So previously, in your role, was the content you were sort of producing not gaming related at all?
No. So Lawson Media is an independent media company in Melbourne, and we predominantly focus on narrative podcasts. So we do some client work, which helps kind of fund things, which is great. And then we do editorial shows, our own shows that we conceive of and produce. So previously we've currently got a few other shows. So Moonshot is our first show, which is all about kind of big technology ideas and people making them happen. Think about like going to the moon and going to Mars and the future of food and all these kind of crazy ideas that big entrepreneurs are trying to do around the world. Then we've got Building a Unicorn, which is our kind of very business-focused show, all about startups and trying to build a billion-dollar company. All that kind of stuff. So we've done a whole series about Tesla and that kind of thing too. So it's a real kind of technology and business kind of has been our kind of category focus. But gaming is very adjacent to all that kind of stuff we've done in the past. And so it was natural for us, where we're all gamers, and it just kind of felt right. It was the right time and the right moment. We had more time just with, how things played out with COVID and everything, trying to figure out, okay, what does the future look like? How's that business going to be impacted and stuff? So we had more time to think about, developing something new. So I pitched it to my boss, Chris, and he was like, yeah, well, that sounds cool. Let's develop something. So, we gave it the time necessary to do that, and really happy with the result.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
If anyone wants to check out the podcast as well, we'll make sure that there is a link in the description as well. So, and I mean, we'll pimp all the rest of James's social a bit later on in the show as well.
100%.
It honestly sounds amazing, though. But
that's sick.
How about we start talking about some news?
Oh, hell yeah.
James, feel free to jump in if there's any other news that we haven't got on our list as well. Sure. But I wanted to start off the news with something that I personally found super exciting. It's no secret that I'm a massive fan of horror, survival horror games. I talk about Silent Hill all the time. I talk about Resident Evil all the time. And this week was the announcement of well, not the announcement, but the gameplay reveal for Resident Evil Village. Do either of you guys catch it?
No.
No, not yet.
Oh, so amazing game. Finally got to see some gameplay. You're playing as Ethan once again, who was in Resident Evil 7. But this time you're in a village with this huge castle. And if you've been on gaming Twitter in the last 7 days or the last 5 days, you'll know that they've revealed the bad guys as well. One being what Twitter has blessed her with the name Sexy Tall Vampire Lady.
Is that what I've been seeing everywhere?
Oh, yeah. And I tell you what,
it's actually annoying me.
People have been, I agree with the people who are confused about how they're reacting to this woman, and also what she calls the daughters, who are the other witches in the game. And it's basically, these women are supposed to be the bad guys, but they are so hot.
Right, okay. Because I've been seeing so many people sharing, like, you know, bloody faced.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, ladies saying all this shit. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, where is this coming from? What is happening?
It's funny you say it, because, and I literally tweeted this the other day, is that this is the shortest time, you know, gap of time that I've ever seen between a reveal and cosplay. Like, they did the reveal.
I literally opened Twitter now because I was like, I need to prove a point that if I open Twitter, something pops up. I literally just opened Twitter. Let me move it across onto the other screen. There you go.
Yeah.
Little's talking about good morning to everyone, especially her, with the picture of this lady with a maggot coming out of her mouth, and she's gone, tempted to do a cosplay of her. I've got the clothes, jewelry, and makeup, but do not own a blonde wig, but I'm going to sort something out.
Right.
Literally one of the first thing I see.
So the reveal was at 9 o'clock in the morning Australian time, and I swear to God I saw the first cosplay within 2 or 3 hours after that.
That's crazy.
Well, people are in lockdown. They've got nothing better to do, you know. Just start making costumes. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, they're not a complicated cosplay either. Like, most of it's all makeup and stuff. But it was. I think it's an amazing seeing people bond to a character so fast. Like, nobody's played this game yet. Like, literally, the only thing anyone's. Yeah. Literally at that stage, by the time the cosplays came out, I doubt any of them had even played the demo yet, because they did drop a demo at the same day, but the demo isn't actual gameplay from the game. So the demo is called Maiden. It's only available on PS5 at this stage, and you're playing as some mystery female who is being captured by them, and you're just trying to get out of the castle as quick as possible. There's no guns. There's no real mission per se, but it just gives you a look at how beautiful the level design is, and it is stunning. Like, probably the first game on next gen that I have seen that looks like it's taking full advantage of that processing power.
Yeah, right. That's
cool. They've brought back the inventory system from Resident Evil 4. Very similar inventory system, and yeah, they've just sort of showed how it all works, and they've also showed the antagonists as well in the game. So
I have to confess, I've never played a Resident Evil game
ever. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Neither have I. Neither.
No, I'm not the biggest horror game fan. I don't mind a few horror films, you know, kind of your classic slasher kind of film. But I get scared too easily, and games are too immersive for me. So I'm fascinated by the genre. Speaking of, you know, sound design and stuff, I'm fascinated by, you know, games like Dead Space that kind of play with sound in a really cool way to kind of uplift that whole feeling. So I do find it very interesting, but I don't have the guts to play them.
Yeah. So I grew up a massive fan of Silent Hill and Resident Evil, and I was one of those guys that complained when, I think it was about Resident Evil 5 and 6, I think were the two, where they sort of took it away from its roots and it became a shooter.
Yeah, right.
And I was just like, nah, this is not my Resident Evil. So, but yeah, it's awesome to see it sort of go back to survival horror aspect, and then horror games in general sort of just became all about the jump scares. There was no psychological horror, or there's no building of tension. There's no real story-driven narratives going on. It was all like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Something jumps out at you.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's was built on just jump scares, right?
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing game for a game that was made by one person in under a week. But and he managed to milk that game for all it's worth as well. But it's not what I would call a survival horror. Yeah, but so that's super exciting for anyone who's a horror game fan. Like I said, the demo is available right now on PS5, and they have said that there is going to be another demo, not the same one, but another demo that'll be coming out for PC and Xbox at a later date.
I was just about to ask that. Is it only on PS5 at the moment, or?
Yeah, it is only on PS5 at the moment. They did also unveil the release date as well, and for the life of me, I can't find it. But we've got a release date and stuff as well. I'm sure a very quick Twitter search is going to tell you.
Not on this thing here, but yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Very cool.
Going from scary games that became movies to another game that is becoming a movie. Borderlands, the movie, has officially signed Kevin Hart onto the game, onto the movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Kevin Hart, arguably the most sought-after comedian in the world. He dropped a new Netflix special recently as well, which is hilarious.
How cool was that, at his house?
Oh, it was. The other one as well, if you catch it.
Isn't that insane that that's his fucking house?
Oh, right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's not surprising, but it's still like, okay, bro, like, relax.
Yeah, you've literally got a theater under your house that you can do comedy
with a stage.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing. But anyway.
Yeah. Ridiculous money.
Yeah.
So he's been cast as Roland, which is interesting. Lot of
it's going to be like a comedy maybe.
Well,
like I know Borderlands has kind of that comedic kind of fun element to it, but I've never considered it to be like a funny game.
So they are saying that it's going to be, he's of course well known as a comedian, but they are saying that this is going to be a more serious role for him. I think it's going to probably sit exactly where the Borderlands games sort of sit, where they're a serious game with a bit of silliness involved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake, the last game had a gun that went yeet.
Yeah, true.
Sure.
Right?
I feel like he plays the same kind of character in every movie he's in, though, right? Like he's that kind of actor. So
like just out there, smart assy, kind of full on.
Yeah, he's like he's always the same. So for me, I find it an interesting casting choice, and like how is he gonna, put his own spin on it, I guess. And
well, the interesting part about this movie as well is it's actually being executive produced by Randy Pitchford from Gearbox. So
wow.
So people are actually pretty confident it's going to be a good movie because, I mean, we've all seen Hollywood take on games as a movie, and 99.9% of them are shit ass, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I said, Resident Evil fan over here can't stand the movies as Resident Evil movies. If you'd put any other title on that, given it an original IP name, they'd be great movies, but they're not a Resident Evil. And of course, Mario Brothers and every other movie that ever came out. I think literally the best video game movie I have seen there'd be two of them, right? One is Wreck-It Ralph, which isn't based on a real game.
Yeah, great.
And the other one is Jumanji, which isn't based on a real game.
True.
Oh, come on, Doom though. Doom was great. The Rock, man.
Oh, look, I remember watching that movie thinking, oh my God, this is awesome. There's a Kiwi in it. There's The Rock in it. I'm a massive wrestling fan. This is going to be great.
Yeah, not so much. I think now though we're starting to see that trend of kind of taking games and kind of games narratives like more seriously. We obviously got the Uncharted movie coming up. The Last of Us with the HBO series. I think that's going to be probably potentially one of the best adaptations that we've seen of games, considering that they're giving, The Last of Us is obviously so narrative driven. It's so kind of focused on character. So given the time that you get with a TV series to really develop characters and take that slower pace, and HBO kind of have never done anything bad. So I guess in terms of adapting stuff, like I think that's probably the best chance of something being really authentic and given the right kind of time to do something really cool. So I'm pretty hopeful of that. So I think we're now starting to see more of those kind of mature elements come through into film.
It was funny you say, because I was just looking at that movie. I've got a list in front of me of almost every movie that's based on a game that's in development at the moment. So I'll go through the list for just really quickly. There's a movie called Without Remorse that's coming out. It's actually based on Rainbow Six. That's supposed to be coming out this year, but I don't think it will. It's still sitting as TBA. Mortal Kombat, of course, that was filmed in Adelaide. That is going to be released in April this year.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, dude. It was announced like 2 years ago that they were filming it. Everyone was expecting it to be delayed because of COVID, but no, it's coming out April this year. And like, it can't be worse than the last two Mortal Kombat movies.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, apparently there's a new Tomb Raider movie in the works as well. Don't know when that's going to be released. Uncharted, of course, that you said. Another one that I did not know about is Minecraft the movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Apparently it's in development to be released.
Though.
Apparently in development to be released March next year.
It's just going to be like the Maiden movie or whatever the hell that was. Like, these real
That's
kind
really
of
funny.
Just low effort.
There must be well into development though, because there's already a bio on the movie.
Because they know they can release it like in school holiday period and
make it a Christmas movie.
Killing, right?
Release it in the Christmas period is going to kill it. But apparently it's going to tell the story of a teenage girl trying to save the overworld from the Ender Dragon.
Okay. Cool.
There you go.
It's not even telling the story of Steve. God.
I think the bet from the studios is that like they're making something that's like already from an existing IP, so that there's an audience there, and particularly when it's kind of younger audiences that they're going to go along and enjoy it. And if it's silly, it doesn't really matter. Like kids are going to love it anyway. So it's kind of almost a guaranteed thing to like make your money back and then some at the box office. Obviously, COVID and all that is still up in the air in terms of when things are going to get more back to normal for releases and cinema experiences and stuff. But even if it's online, like they know they're still going to make something out of it, as opposed to a completely original story. That's why you're seeing so many franchises and reboots and all that kind of stuff. Like studios want reliability now in terms of like what's going to do like well or well enough that they're going to like at least make their money back. And I look at this all the time. I look at like the history of different movies and how much they make. Even terrible movies like make like they triple their budget in return, because it's like the bar is so low to actually do well, and only a few kind of small percentage of movies like completely bomb and like don't make their money back at the box office. So I think they're just kind of lumping into whatever they think is going to work and where there is already an established audience for something, as opposed to trying to create new stuff from scratch.
I mean, and in the last couple of years, we've seen some super successful and really well executed TV shows based on video games as well. I mean, we've seen the what's the anime on Netflix based on the old Nintendo game with the vampires and stuff?
Castlevania.
Yeah. So we've seen Castlevania come out, which I was never a big Castlevania fan, but I actually loved the anime. It was really cool.
Yeah, right.
And they've also announced another couple of game tie-ins that are going to be part of the same universe with Castlevania as well. Of course, last year, Amazon announced that they are working with Bethesda to create a Fallout series. That's going to be a TV show based in the Fallout world. As a Fallout fan, I'm excited, but also dubious. But I mean, it's an awesome universe to be able to build, and there's already such a deep story there.
Yeah.
As long as they're working with Bethesda on it, I think it could be dope.
I think that'd be sick. That'll actually be really cool if they do that right.
Totally.
Get all the bits right.
What was the other one that I did see before was Cyberpunk. So that was announced by Netflix last year as well. That's coming to Netflix in 2022.
Oh, really?
Yep.
A film or a series?
A series.
Wow.
That'll actually be mad. Isn't like a story around Night City. That'd be pretty wild.
It would be
the
pretty
things
wild.
you could do with that would be crazy.
Right. And I mean, the only thing that they could potentially do that would be the most cyberpunk thing ever is release it so it's only available to view in 120p on 6K, so nobody can watch it. But that brings me to the next story I wanted to bring up. Netflix has made an announcement today that they are going to be creating a Tomb Raider anime. And so if you're a kid of the 90s, you might be a fan of that one. But if you're a gamer from the 80s, which I am, they also announced a Skull Island anime series, which is going to be interesting because Skull Island was a game that was developed by LucasArts back in the day, or LucasArts Game. Was it Lucas Games? So it'd be interesting to see if that's still tied in with Disney somehow or not. I'm not 100% sure how those old Lucas games work. But yeah, Skull Island coming out as a anime.
Oh.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty crazy. I remember seeing Skull Island.
People that played it back in the day are usually like ridiculously obsessive fans of those games.
That's cool.
But yeah, so we got heaps of viewing coming to Netflix and heaps of movies as well, all based on video games. Like I said earlier, pretty hopeful that they're going to be good. I think Hollywood's learned its lesson from making shitty video games. Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, surprisingly good movie. And the other one that I found
once the fans got on board and said, "Hey, this looks terrible. You got to fix this."
the gaming industry could have learned from how Hollywood dealt with that, right?
Yeah, for sure,
big time.
But they listened to the fans and they went, "Oh shit, we fucked up. Hold up, we're not going to release it. We're going to go away and make sure it's right before it comes out." But the other one that was a surprisingly really good movie, and I actually sat there and loved it. I don't have kids young enough to watch it, but I watched it start to finish, was Detective Pikachu.
I was literally about to say that. Because the Pokemon, Detective Pikachu is not really the same, but kind of the same. It's a game, moved to a movie. So,
and saying that, though,
I reckon even the animation stuff was done incredibly well.
Yeah, oh, totally. I still reckon there was somebody at the movie studio, though, who sat there and go, right, we need something. We need to make some big money. Here's two things that are super popular. Gaming, mainly Pokemon. Pokemon Go's big at the moment. And Deadpool.
Yeah.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Let's mash those two things together.
That's it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it, but I think an make time for it. Just for it's a popcorn flick, right? Like
totally. It's not one of those ones that you go into expecting a deep narrative and to come out emotionally changed.
My expectations are already pretty low, so if it's a bit of a fun kind of Friday night movie, then why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, next on my list of news, and this one coming from my very Kiwi heart. I saw this one come up. It might have been last week before, was that it's a very realistic possibility that the $48 million esports tournament could be held in New Zealand, says Lord Gaben himself. Now, if you don't know, we reported on this a while ago, not new news, but Gabe was stuck in New Zealand during the height of the coronavirus pandemic, when New Zealand went into lockdown, he happened to be in the country. He was stuck there. He fell in love with the country and the way that he was looked after. I understand he's being made a citizen of New Zealand as well.
Wow.
He's looking at moving part of the company to New Zealand already, and apparently there's people quite high up in the company who are like, yeah, move me out of the States. I want to go live in New Zealand and develop games over there. And he's actually saying, look, with the way New Zealand has handled the pandemic and how free New Zealand currently is, he could easily see and would be willing to look at moving the Dota worlds there.
That is fucking wild.
Which is a massive deal, right? Like
That's
moving
huge.
it out of Korea or, you know, the places where they've previously held it to little old New Zealand, which arguably has amazing internet. It's not the fastest in the world like Korea, but New Zealand's internet is super fast.
Better than Australia.
Yeah, well, super fast and reliable as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've bitched about this multiple times online. I moved to Australia just over 5 years ago, and when I left New Zealand 5 years ago, I had gigabit up and down. A gig up, a gig down on my internet. Moved to Australia, and I wasn't even getting a terabyte up or down or whatever. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, New Zealand, I'm hopeful this happens. Looking at Valve potentially moving over there. What do you guys think?
That's pretty big. I mean, just for the industry there, for tourism, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's that'd be a huge boost.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand's already got a massively growing gaming industry as well. Rocketworks is still based in Auckland, New Zealand, even though it's got massive investment from China and the rest of the gaming industry is sort of dotted everywhere else. But and usually a lot of the big games are swallowed up and moved out. But Rocketworks have said, no, we're a New Zealand company. We're staying here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
Cool. Well, I think for esports to continually like grow and get bigger and bigger, like it has to spread out, you know, beyond just kind of the main, you know, big kind of markets and big areas. You know, if it's going to be a legitimate, you know, kind of long-term sport, which it will be for sure.
Oh, totally.
You know, it's got to be represented in all these kind of different places, and it's going to be a big boost. Yeah, to a lot of kind of smaller markets and stuff. So for NZ to have some big events and stuff, that's awesome.
Yeah, and look, I think this also brings up another thing that I've sort of found sad about coronavirus in the last year is I think 2020 potentially could have been one of the biggest years in esports in Melbourne this year. Melbourne arguably has become the home of esports in Australia, and you know, we saw just last week they've cancelled MEO and also IEM for 2021.
Oh,
so
really?
it's going to be 2 years in a row that it's not happening, and that was supposed to be the biggest esports event in Australia, which was going to happen last year, and it's also been cancelled this year. So sucks.
So all we've got to do is hold out and hopefully PAX sticks around.
And of course Fortress as well, which literally opened the week before your lockdown over there.
Yeah, I think they were pretty annoyed about that. Yeah, it's pretty tough, but they've held on. I think they've got some good investment there, so they were lucky to be able to hold out and then reopen. So it's I hope things can get back to a bit more normality kind of at the tail end of this year, and we can have these bigger events again, because it's
bring back PAX.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. If PAX goes ahead, that'll be amazing. It's great they've kind of preemptively announced things, but you just never know, I guess, and where things are going to be.
I mean, if PAX does happen this year, I don't think it's going to be a PAX that we recognise.
No, any kind of big event, going forward is still going to be a little bit more, reserved.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind picking. This is me making some bold predictions here. I think they'll cut down how many people are allowed in the venue. I wouldn't mind picking that they'll stretch it out a couple of days longer and sell 1 day passes rather than the 3 day passes that they used to do, just so they can limit how many people are in there. And of course, we're going to see a lot more hand cleaning, a lot more space, and a different way of engaging with people. Like the queues that we once saw, that cannot happen anymore, right?
No.
Which is, it's fine.
Not unless you want another outbreak.
Yeah.
No. But as long as these events can still go ahead to kind of some capacity to kind of keep the community connected and kind of keep things to a certain kind of normality, then that's great. Like as long as they can still sustain themselves and be around and not just completely go away, then that's great. Like the people are already.
There are systems in place that can sort of replace queues, right? Like at E3 already for the last few years, I had to register to get my time at a booth, which was actually awesome. I didn't have to stand there.
Yeah.
I registered. I knew what time I had to be there to get my time slot, right? And that's what we're just going to have to do at these smaller public events as well, is come register when it's your time, be here. If you're not here, you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not doing queues anymore. But we're just going to have to be careful with a lot of things now. It's all going to change.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That is insane, though.
Anyway, this week we haven't got any listener feedback because it's the first week of the show. However, if you do have any questions for us for future episodes, hit up our Twitter, hit up the comments as well on this video. And we will start tweeting out and letting you know when we're going to be recording so you can get the questions to us or for our guests. What are you guys looking forward to in the coming week?
In the coming week, just working on more stories, getting more stories off the ground and locked in, and constantly trying to work ahead. We're always trying to, have multiple stories, at various stages of production. So just more work, trying to get stuff locked in, which would be cool. And making more time for some games that I've missed out on and all that kind of thing. I'm getting
starting to work through that Steam library.
The back catalog. I was lucky enough to get a Series X, so I'm on Game Pass and enjoying that at the moment. So kind of downloading.
How amazing is Game Pass? I love Game Pass.
It's amazing. It really is. I'm playing Star Wars. I'm blanking.
Was it Battlefront?
Jedi Fallen Order.
I love Jedi Fallen Order.
Which is great. Yeah, I completely missed it.
DLC coming for that too.
Right. I completely missed it when it came out, and just being able to jump in and give it a go, I was blown away. It's this kind of real cool cinematic kind of experience, great kind of storytelling, and enjoying that. So getting through the back catalog, the pile of shame, slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's funny because I every now and then will just jump into Game Pass and see if there's something I've never played before or whatever. And I downloaded the most random thing the other day, which was Disneyland Experience, which is literally.
I've seen that. I have not played it. I have not tried it yet.
I haven't. I literally downloaded it last night. I haven't played it, but I quite like the idea of being able to pretend that I've gone to a theme park and I'm doing something, which is exactly what it's about. It's literally you're able to just go around Disneyland and try the rides and try the experiences and stuff on your Xbox.
That's cool.
That's
so is it like a full recreation, or is it actual footage that they've kind of put into a 360
from what
experience?
I understand, it's a full experience, full recreation. It's a shame that they don't have VR on the Xbox though.
Yeah,
I think that'd be quite a cool thing to do in VR.
Perfect.
Sick.
Yeah.
You set up a little chair in your lounge room as well, so when you're standing up, you're walking around, and when you go to sit in a ride, you sit down in your chair.
Right. It'd be amazing.
That'd be so cool.
That would be cool. I love theme parks, so I think I need to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll report back as well, and I'll probably tweet about whether it's shit or not. But yeah,
it's on Game Pass. What do you got to lose, right?
That's it, right? And this is what I love about Game Pass. I think Game Pass is definitely the big difference between the PS5 and the Xbox One X at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the way I play. I used to be the kind of person that.
Are you on Ultimate?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to. It's amazing. I used to be the kind of person that would play, a few kind of big titles every year and, just play them to death. And since I got a Switch last year and now now Game Pass on the Series X, I'm kind of playing anything and everything. So I've got like so many games all like going on all at once, trying to like jump between them. So I'm not really finishing anything. I'm kind of just playing a lot of different things, but I like the variety. I like just being able to try things. And, also the cool thing, there's so many great indie titles on Game Pass now as well. So a bunch of games that I've kind of flagged on my wish list for Switch, which are great in handheld mode and really cool for that platform. But if they're, included in Game Pass, I don't have to spend any extra money, then cool. Like I'll definitely try that.
Yeah.
So
and of course, if you've got Game Pass Ultimate at the moment, you can also register for xCloud as well, so you can play them on your phone. Some of them selected games.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that at some stage. But yeah, I signed up. I got 3 years in advance of Ultimate before I got my Series X. So all paid up, and it's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. What about you, Hart? What are you looking forward to in the next week?
Well, No Pixel, the GTA roleplay server that I play on, is going through some massive changes. So they did the 2.0 update. Oh, I don't even know when that was. Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe longer. I'm not really too sure, to be honest. But yeah, so now they're going through massive changes into 3.0, which has been this massive development. They're redoing a lot of the buildings. They're rebuilding all the cars, the handling, the way everything works. New businesses coming in and out. Just there's so many things being added into the city, and so many massive changes coming as well. So they've been doing the testing at the moment. They've got the server up and running. They've been doing stress tests and audio tests and bug testing, everything like that. So we're hoping to see a trailer maybe today or tomorrow. Like they're doing like a full trailer for it. Like it's just a GTA 5 roleplay like server, like a modded server, but they've got a complete dev team that are like full time on it, and it is absolutely wild. So I'm hoping to see one of my characters or a couple of my characters in the gameplay trailer, which would be cool. Just to be a little bit of like a yes, we made it.
Bit of a flex.
Yeah, just a little thing like that. So yeah, but that's going to be very exciting. GTA has kind of dropped down a little bit in the viewage and the rankings at the moment, while everyone's sort of waiting around. But when 3.0 hits, you'll see GTA 5. It'll be the top game for a while.
I'm 100%. Fascinated by the longevity 100%. That GTA 5 like online has had. It's incredible.
Crazy,
right? I played the main story, didn't play online, but just kind of watching that community thrive, and it just keeps going. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's currently going into its third generation of console at the moment.
Yeah.
That's been my main game that I've streamed for the last just over 2 years now.
Right.
I've streamed almost 3,000 hours in that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's been crazy. So it's just going to keep going because there's so much more to do and to add to the base game. Like when I go back and play GTA Online now, I'm driving around, I'm like, where the fuck is everything? Because I play on a modded server and there's just like trees in different spots. Like, it's wild.
Throws you off.
That's what I'm hyped for. That's what I'm hyped for.
Yeah, well, personally, in the next week, I'm planning on probably just playing some more of these arcade machines behind me, and I'm going to fix this thing up here. My air hockey. So, that's from a gaming perspective, that's about it. Apart from that, heaps of work stuff. Working on a couple of really cool gaming projects for work, which we'll be able to start talking about hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in. It's awesome to be back, and of course we are back every single week with a new guest. Thank you so much for joining us, James.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you and find your projects?
Yeah, so I guess gameplay.co is the website for the podcast. That's the first place to go. We're at Gameplay Podcast on Twitter. I'm at James R. Parkinson on Twitter. So get in touch that way if you want to say hello. Check out the show and let me know what you think if it's your kind of thing.
Awesome. And if you want to follow us, you can follow me on everything at FidMcAwesome. If you want to follow Jack, you can follow him on everything as well, at Jack Hutto. And of course, you can also follow Go2Game at Go2Game on Twitter, at goto.game on Instagram. You can search up goto.game on Facebook. And of course, you can find out everything else about us, news, reviews, what we do, who Jack and I are, and our day job and such as well, at www.goto.game. Once again, thanks for joining us, James, and thank you for everybody who has watched this, and we will be back next week. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Bye.